understand what's going on here. He's quit, Duran. I don't believe this. I don't believe this in the 8th round. What's going on? Now Duran wants to fight well in the 2nd. He's out of his mind.
Boxing is known for being a sport where fighters battle through pain and injuries, sometimes even trying to fight after they've been deemed unfit. So why would Duran, a ruthless warrior, known to be an animal in and outside of the ring, bow out so easily? Was it humiliation, cramps, a fixed fight? Join us as we question everything about the No Mas boxing match. Throughout boxing history, few rivalries burned as intensely as that between Sugar Ray Leonard and Roberto Duran. Sugar Ray Leonard, the embodiment of the good boy persona, burst onto the scene as the darling of boxing. His Olympic gold medal, multiple championship titles, and winning smile painted him as the poster child for the sport. Undefeated at 27-0, Leonard was hailed as the future of boxing, responsible for the sport's resurgence post-Ali. On the other end of the spectrum stood Roberto Duran, aptly named Manos de Piedra, hands of stone. Duran's ferocity and raw power made him a force to be reckoned with in the ring. As the undisputed lightweight champion for over 6 years, he turned down no opponent, successfully defending the title 13 times. After moving up to welterweight and improving his record to an astonishing 71-1, Duran was seen as the best pound-for-pound boxer in the world. His antics inside and outside of the ring personified the quintessential macho man of boxing. Despite being the reigning champion and boasting an unparalleled record, his disdain for Leonard was unmistakable, seeing him as merely the golden boy, undeserving of the $9 million he stood to make from their match versus Duran's $1.5 million. He wasn't content with just throwing punches. He had to get inside Leonard's head, taunting him, even insulting his wife. And it worked, as their disdain became mutual. But Duran was out for blood, determined to wipe the smile off Leonard's face once and for all. It was the summer of 1980, and all eyes were on Montreal's Olympic Stadium, the same arena where Sugar Ray Leonard obtained his Olympic gold medal only 4 years earlier. The Brawl in Montreal was billed as the highest-grossing match ever, a fight reminiscent of the legendary Ali Frazier bouts. But this time, it was Sugar Ray Leonard, the golden boy of boxing, going head-to-head with Roberto Duran, the Panamanian animal with fists of stone.
I've never known so many fight traders who want to see this fight. Roberto Duran, Sugar Ray Leonard.
Leonard, known for his slick footwork and elusive style, shocked the world when he abandoned his trademark moves and opted to go toe-to-toe with Duran. He wanted to prove he had grit, to slug it out flat-footed and show he was more than just a pretty face. Duran came out swinging like a wrecking ball. Leonard stood his ground, mirroring Duran's style, but quickly became overpowered as Duran was landing bombs that had Leonard staggering. Even Leonard's wife couldn't handle the fight, passing out in her seat in the 8th round. As the fight progressed, Leonard returned to his famous style, making adjustments and pushing back against Duran's onslaught. But it was a race against time, with only a few rounds left to turn the tide. The match went the full 15 rounds and the judges' scorecards were tallied up. The announcement came. Despite Leonard's valiant effort, Duran emerged victorious, claiming the WBC welterweight title and handing Sugar Ray Leonard his first defeat in the ring. Following the victory, Duran became a national hero in Panama, returning home to adoration and fame. This was the time for celebration, and that's exactly what Duran would do. But back in the States, Leonard was not celebrating. It was a close match on the scorecards, with one judge scoring 10 out of 15 rounds a tie. The public wanted a rematch, and so did Leonard. He was out for payback and had a cunning plan up his sleeve. Knowing Duran's persona centered around his machismo, Leonard set his sights on Duran's ego to rattle his self-esteem. In an interview with Sports Illustrated before the first fight, Duran bragged about his ability to stay above the mind games. Leonard knew exactly what needed to be done. He demanded a swift rematch, which severed a decade-long partnership with trainer Dave Jacobs, who thought Leonard needed an easier fight before returning to Duran. However, Leonard's insistence on an immediate rematch was more than him being impatient. See, Duran had a habit of packing on pounds after big wins and then sweating it off to make weight. Leonard divulged this in an interview for Beyond the Glory. My intention was to fight Duran ASAP because I knew his habits. But Duran was down in Panama. Another match was the last thing on his mind. He was enjoying himself. But an offer from infamous promoter Don King would get his manager's attention. A $10 million offer. With his manager pushing him, Duran reluctantly agreed to the rematch, setting the stage for an epic showdown. Only 3 months after their initial encounter, the fight was officially set for November 25th. The anticipation was electric, with over 60,000 fans eagerly awaiting entrance to the illustrious Superdome in New Orleans. As the bout commenced, Leonard's trademark agility and speed served as his primary weapons. Though still a close fight, Leonard was slowly tipping the scales in his favor for the first few rounds. And in a pivotal moment during the 6th round, Duran's desperate pursuit of Leonard signaled the unraveling of his mental fortitude, a testament to Leonard's strategic brilliance. In the 7th round, Leonard's taunts further exacerbated Duran's frustration as he flaunted his superiority with the infamous Ali shuffle, the windmill, and other audacious displays of showmanship. With each jab, Leonard inflicted a psychological blow, denting Duran's ego, chipping away at his resolve. As the bell rang for the 8th round, the stage was set for the climactic moment of the rematch. Duran seemed to be fine physically, still putting up a fight, but mentally he was checked out. Then, with 15 seconds left in the round, Duran turned his back to Leonard, uttering the now infamous words to the referee, "No más." There have been many claims of what was actually said here, but whatever was said, the action was undeniable.
Television in America. Oh. What's Duran doing around here? He's saying, I don't understand what's going on here. He's quit, Duran. I don't believe this. I don't believe this in the 8th round. What's going on? Now Duran wants to fight one in the 2nd. He's out of his mind.
Duran's unexpected surrender left everyone in the boxing world stunned and perplexed, including the announcers and the referee himself. Despite being physically unharmed and trailing by only 1 round on 2 scorecards, Duran's decision to quit defied logic and his reputation as a macho warrior. And in the post-fight interview, Duran claimed he was done with boxing altogether. He'd return the next year. In the aftermath, questions swirled around Duran's decision, but one thing was clear. Leonard had executed his revenge with precision, leaving Duran humiliated in front of the world. The public response was unforgiving. Within hours, commercials featuring Duran were pulled from TV, and when he returned to Panama, gone was the adoration of his countrymen. Fellow boxers were embarrassed, viewing his actions as a betrayal to the sport. Fans felt scammed, and some talked of a fixed fight, citing the fact that Duran had been paid before the bell even rang. And then there was Sugar Ray Leonard, frustrated and bewildered, his triumph overshadowed by Duran's departure from the ring. Leonard took pleasure in the humiliation of Duran and desperately wanted the public to understand it was him who made Duran quit. He was frustrated, confused. I did everything I could to make him go off, like a clock wound up too tight. He got wound up so tight, he blew a spring. Duran, the epitome of toughness and resilience, had been defeated in every way, and with the world watching, he needed the answer for his actions. Not only did Duran have a bad habit of gaining weight after a fight, he also had trouble taking it off, and often resorted to unhealthy methods, sacrificing his body to make weight. On this occasion, reports surfaced that Duran was 10 pounds overweight the Friday before the fight and began taking diuretics. After narrowly making weight the day before the fight, a starving and dehydrated Duran gorged himself on 2 steak dinners with all the fixins, a huge breakfast the next morning, and another steak dinner in the hotel room just 4 hours before the fight. Duran said the cramps came from a combination of his purging, gorging, and the hot coffee he drank right before the fight. However, manager Carlos Eleta saw no problem, saying that Duran always ate like that before a fight. Over the years, Duran's blamed many things on his departure, although according to Duran, it's never his responsibility. It was his manager who rushed him into the fight without giving him enough time to train. It's said that for every day of the week that ends in a Y, Duran will have another excuse. So, what was the real reason? Leonard's motivations ran deeper than mere victory. He sought to humiliate Duran, to make him quit. The contrast between their lifestyles amplified the spectacle as the disciplined opponent faced off against the partying champion. Leonard had made Duran a joke, the laughter of the Superdome echoing his humiliation, shattering the facade of the indomitable fighter. And Duran wanted none of it. Well, Leonard beat me. Fighting that night, I think I said in my mind, well, I lose, and when the rematch comes, I'll prepare better and beat him again. Duran was so humiliated, he thought quitting would cut his losses and look better than a defeat. Then he could show the world who he really was in a rematch. Sadly, his actions in the ring that night showed everyone all they needed to know about who he was. Maybe the real reason is hiding in plain sight. Maybe Duran really did have stomach cramps. However, he still was not ill after the fight. In fact, he ate as well as partied that night, and when he was examined by a doctor, there was no physical disorder found. This means that whatever made Duran quit was bothering him a lot during the fight, enough to give up on the biggest night of his life, and about an hour later wasn't bothering him at all. Perhaps Duran wasn't wrong about the coffee he drank before the fight. We all know what a cup of joe can do to your insides, but how many of us have thought of being in a fight when it happens? Ask yourself honestly, would I keep fighting the biggest match of my life if I already felt humiliated and I knew that I was going to shit all over the place in front of 60,000 people? Or would I just quit so I could go take a glorious career-ending dump? It would explain everything about Duran's behavior, and I gotta be honest, this definitely plays into the humiliation aspect too. Maybe just not in the way that Leonard had planned. Leonard and Duran did eventually meet in the ring again, but it was 9 years later and Duran was far from the fighter he had been, losing handily to Leonard. So who was the best fighter here? Duran bested Leonard when they were both at the top of their game, but Leonard tried proving his toughness and in showing his ego lost the fight. Then Leonard defeated Duran, but only because he used psychological warfare, teasing Duran with money to fight early and taunting him face to face in the ring. It seems the real loser in the ring is ego. Who do you think proved himself to be a better fighter overall? And what would you do if you had to shit during a boxing match? Let me know in the comments. If you want some more videos about some weird stuff, check these out. And please, make sure to like, subscribe, and share the video. It really helps the channel out. Thanks for watching, guys. I will see you next time.